Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another Beast on the deck profile. This time I'll be covering the new Dragon Empire right line, which is Gra Graiandra. That name is a little bit hard to pronounce. Kulai Andora. So this is like how to, I think it's like Japanese how to pronounce it, but yeah, just bad with my pronunciation. But this is the new bright line we get for Dragon Empire, and at first I was feeling it like very unique, that his skill is very interesting, then he needs to rest himself. But then after I play it with a few times, it's more, I think it's actually a very good deck for people who actually like want to get into the game, find something cheap, find something simple to use, find something simple to learn. This is definitely a good deck because it involves a lot of different skills while being very easy to pilot, easy to gather your cards, at least from how I build it. So let's quickly go over the content. Okay, so with the right line, of course, I'm using the full set right line for himself, which includes Andra and then Grai, so it's Graiandra. And then of course we have also another Andra, which is grade 0. The reason why you need this red line is because when you use this red line, you only need to discard when you go from 0 to 1. And then because you have the 0, then it will be free, because when you have basically the 1 here, then you will just go into 3 for free. So you only need to discard 1 for going through the whole right line, as long as you don't soul blast the wrong card out. And in here we will just try to not make that happen, so I'm not using the soul blast on right cost because I only will ditch once, and then I don't need to care about the right cost anymore. So in a way, I don't need to find space for those cards and focus on something else. And also the reason why you need these is because they are how you actually make your grade 3 to work. So let's talk about grade 3 skill first before going to the main deck, because I think it's quite important. Now, it's going to skill Vanguard Circle at the beginning of your main phase by having a cost resting this unit, choose up to 1 grade 2 or less card with Grai, which is him basically, his card name, and up to 1 grade 2 or less card with Andra, which is this basically, but you can have this as a backup because it's a grade 2 or less, and then call them from your soul to Vanguard Circle, and then this card would get another skill, which is Vanguard Circle once per turn. Auto, at the end of the battle, your Riga with Andra is card name attacked, put that unit that attack and a Riga with Grai in its card name into the soul. So basically put these two back, you pull them out, you put them back, stand this unit, and all of your friendly units will get plus 10k at the end of turn for the turn. So you don't need your opponents to be grade 3, so you immediately, once you go into grade 3, you can already use the skill already, which is very, very important. So if you have no idea about this deck, then you will think, okay, we pull 2 cards out, which can be a line, right? But then it's a 10k and 8k, do I just call it like that and then I just attack, right? No. Why? Then we can actually look into the great one, which is Scry first. So the Scry skill, if you have at the beginning of your battle phase, so I'm not explaining the free right cost again, beginning of the battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Scry, which is him in his card name as a Vanguard, by resting this card from the Riga circle, choose one of your Rigas with Andra in his card name, until end of turn, that unit can attack from the back row and get plus 10k power. So these two are in your soul, basically this is also, and then you rest it, have these two, so that's normally how I call it. And then when you start your battle phase, you rest this plus 10k, and then during your turn, because you have a grind unit, you will get plus 5k, so it's just a simple 25k beater. Of course you can, and because you can attack from the back row, so you can just stay at the back. But if you want to get buffed by the person right, then of course you can do that. But since after this attacking, this skill will proc that you will put these two back into your soul, standard unit plus 10k in the front row, you rather do this, right? And then just rest this and then attack, right? And because it's a once per turn, so even if you have more Andra, it won't allow your Vanguard to release them more than once. So do be careful about that, because some people might think if we can do it multiple times, right? Then we do that, put it in, stand, and then assume we have another pair somewhere here, and then somewhere here, yeah, just whatever, and then attack again, and then this attack, and then we go in and stand. That's not happening. Just make sure it only did it once, and that's all you can do. But this skill is actually very interesting, that you are doing 4 attacks, and every single one of them is usually about 20k, which is very good, especially if you are going first, because like since going second you do have a lot of benefits, but this deck doesn't care. It's just like, you let me go first, you will be in trouble. So next, going through the main deck, of course we need person right. So that's more I have. Unfortunately, through my playtest, I rarely personalize. I did it like normally just once out of like 5 to 6 games. Most of the time, I'm just relying on a Vanguard skill to pump 10k to the front row and just pretending I'm personalizing. That is still good, but if you can actually get the personalize going, that is definitely more helpful, more pressuring. Especially like if you can keep the high power pressure going on, that would be crazy. And then 4 of the services. So this is a very important card for the deck as well. From Riga Circle at the beginning of your battle phase, you can counterblast 1, choose one of your units with Grai or Android's card name. It will get plus 5k until end of turn. If you choose a card, then you draw a card. So you basically counterblast 1 plus 5k to this, and then you get a draw 1. And because your Andra also get 5k and then the 10k from the grind, you already pump it to 20, so make it a 30. And 30 requires your opponents more cards to guard, which is very good. And it didn't hard bound by like 1 card per turn, or same name once per turn, let's put it that way, so that if you have more, then you can pump more. And then when your unit with Grind and his card name attacks, so that includes your Vanguard, that also includes this, the great one if you really have to. And if your opponent is grade 3 or higher, this unit will get plus 5k until end of turn, which is very important, because you will attack 2 times, so it's basically a 10k buff, and then you're already gaining a 10k buff from the Vanguard by having your Android attacks and put them into soul and restand. So it's basically a 33k beater, which is very good. Not that you only have more than 3 attacks, you have 4, and all of the attacks are very big. And then something very similar, which is Melt Knuckle Golem. So it also get the same plus 5k thing for itself, so it can still pump like plus another extra 10k. So this is great. Also, when this unit is placed on Riga Circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Brian this card name, you can Energy Blast 3 and draw a card. So instead of counterblasting 1 to draw a card, you can simply just Energy Blast 3 to draw a card, which very good that you don't have much energy usage. So 90% of your energy can basically go into draw 1 with this card. and he hit hard. So this is not good as this, because this will also pump your Andra or your Vanguard if you need to, but usually you will just pump the Andra so it can be strong, so opponents will need to drop some card later when they take too much damage, so they need to block that first and then block a lot more attacks, right? So yeah, that's definitely something that is very simple to use and very good to use as well. Okay, next, another energy usage card, Forehead. If you need to use Counterblast for it, you can, but normally I just save with that. It's more of a defensive option, or when I'm going second, then I have a chance to use it on my first time using the right line, because after that I don't need to ditch anything. But little extra defense is great, that's why I put it in there. But the energy can simply be drained out by using two of these on the same turn. So do be careful about that. That sometimes you need to counterblast for it, but energy blast is definitely a good option to use. And then Brachial Force, because so far the whole thing you see have no retire power, and for Dragon Empire you kind of need something that can just make your opponents feel annoying. Of course, your high power can be annoying, but if you can't make your opponents to do some hard decisions on what to keep, then it's going to be just trouble for itself. So I use Brachial Force there because I can always pump 10k with the Vanguard skill, so it can somehow hit something unless a defensive trigger blocking the way, so I can always try to bait something out, which I think is quite nice to do. And then I'm running 3 more Grais. The reason I'm running him is for myself to be able to use the Gem Cats, which is for a little bit of defensive. So far I never used the draw one part. I used the plus 15k shield so that I can just do it as a trying to get shield, which is very important for survival. And why I need that, because you can see here, like I don't have a lot of choice. You normally just do it once and just call it a day, right? Which is basically 0 and 1. So after I take that out, then I need to keep filling the deck with another Grai, so that my Andra can not only get the power pump, but also the restanding skill requires both Grai and Andra. So if I don't have any more Grais, then I will be in trouble. But I do want the defensive, so I'm putting 3 more in. And do note that this is also not a hard once per turn, so if you have 2 in the back row, you can just rest 2, give the same Andra plus 10k, and then just make it big. So that is definitely something that you can do. Unfortunately, it's more like a one-off, but instead of just having one that I don't see it, I'd rather have 1 more copy just in case. And like, worst of the worst, because I do have 4 cards available, no matter they are remaining in the soul or went into the drop zone, I still have a chance to put a total of 4 cards back to my right deck to use the cat twice. So I probably won't be doing that, because the Andra is that very important to keep unless I make some space for more Andras. But so far I think this lineup is doing me okay, so I'm just going to keep it that way. And then for the Griffins, it's basically a 10k boost plus a very interesting pop that you can counterblast one, choose one of your opponent's great one or less back row recast and retire. It's only popping something for the back row, but at least it gets its own retire, and what you can't cover, here comes the Brachial Force. And then just for the booster PG, because this deck doesn't, it seems like drawing a lot, but then I don't feel myself hand size is very big, so instead of using the placeholder, I use something that I can have a chance to just use one of it without discarding any cards. But if you want to use the placeholder, feel free to use that. I don't see a reason that's stopping you, but for me, that's a better choice for me. And then lastly, before triggers, is the Dragconnector. So this is a very important order card for this deck, because your Vanguard will get it auto. When this unit stands, all your front row units will get plus 10k power at the end of turn for the turn. So not only you are already plus 10k to the front row with your Vanguard skill, you are plus another 10k to your front row with the order. So that's how I still keep the high power without personal right. Even though I do love to have personal right come into my hand, but if it don't come, this at least is something that is kind of like that, right? And imagine if you can personal right, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10 from personal right, a total for 30k to the front row. That is not a joke. And this plus another 10k, right? Then it's like 13, 23, 33, 43, 2 times 53. A 53k swing is definitely not a joke. So yeah, that's important. So I'm running 4. And then going to triggers. Dragon Empire OT, nothing too much to say about that. Even though the plus 10k is basically just once, but it's still good enough when you see Omega swing again. And then crits, 7 crits. I am going for the 10k draws, even though again we do have quite a lot of draws, but I always don't feel enough, so I'm using draws. But if you are brave enough and feel the draw power is good enough, then you can go for fronts. Then that makes the deck a lot more scary, because like every single time you're buffing the board is basically a 10k to the front row. But yeah, I rather have draw trigger in here. That is something that I can simply ditch early game. I don't need to worry about keeping a 20k shield or not. But if you want to go for front, then you go for it. And then here I'm just using normal heals. Basic triggers I think is good enough for this, except for the draw of fronts. But yeah, if you want to use effect triggers, feel free to put that in as well. Yeah. So that's basically the deck profile. The deck is very simple. You just make sure you keep Graiandra and Grai in your soul, or at least have one in hand so you can have a spare. And then you draw cards, you pump cards, and then you swing 4 times a turn. Then that's basically it. So the deck is very simple to pilot. It can be a little bit boring, because what you do every single turn is basically the same. But seeing how your opponents react to your different power level every single turn is something that is fun to have. And this deck is so cheap, so like a lot of stuff, even like I can imagine some people who ask me what can I replace with the Farhead, right? Then you can simply just put in more Andra, even though you don't get the draw from here, but then that makes your cat like more accessible while maintaining the deck to be cheap, right? Because if you have more rooms for more Andras, that means you can just throw the whole right line back to the right deck. So that is definitely something that you can consider. And the rest is basically low cost stuff, right? Yeah, you can just find most of the stuff. If you can't find like the soaring crit, just use the normal crit. But if you can't find the draws, at least try to find the fronts, right? So that's your choice. And after that, you don't even need to buy split, or when you buy Dragon Empire split, you already like get 90% of the stuff. Then what you need to find is just Brachio Force. PG is in a lot of different things, so it's quite accessible. then the rest is easy. Yeah. And I never thought I can just make this deck so easily, right? I was like thinking, there's a lot of things I need to think about. End up I don't need to. I put the key cards in, they draw cards, they get big. That's it. That's all you need to do. Yeah, so it's okay to try this deck out, I think. Again, it's more of a budget options, and if like if your area, like the big tournament, suddenly tells you that they are selecting who goes to the top when like the definitely winners already guarantee the spots, and they are looking for different right lines, then maybe this is a sudden strike option that you can choose, because it act fast, it win fast, it's lose fast, it's cheap, it's easy to get. So if you are just looking for a deck to maybe just even have fun, or just try to screw your opponents over when they have no idea what this deck does, then I think this is a good choice, right? Yeah, so I think that's all I need to talk about this deck. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. If you have other cards that you have used in this deck, feel free to let me know as well. Sometimes I might actually find better options from your comments. Subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, unboxing videos. We are having a bigger tournament this weekend in Hong Kong, so hopefully I can record some of those and just share with you guys, and hopefully we can find some interesting matchups as well. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.